My name is Odelia. I'm Chief of Strategy at Argentum Consultant. At Argentum, we're focusing our efforts toward the obtention of governmental support for innovative ideas and projects. We work with different funding sources all over Europe, and the European Innovation Council is one of the most attractive ones. As the European Innovation Council, EIC, work program for 2024 was just released last week, we decided to take a few days to read it and to present it to you with a detailed summary, while providing to you also my perspective and strategic advice to tackle those funding tracks. So regarding the agenda for today, we'll first begin with a general overview of what is the European Innovation Council and what is the main strategic goals that are presented in this new work program. Then we'll deepen our understanding on the three flagship calls for proposal, the EIC Accelerator, Transition, and Pathfinder. The work program includes also 4 recognition prizes that I'll present shortly, their scope and conditions. Then I'll point at the main changes in the new work program compared to the last one. During the presentation, I'll faithfully relate the needed information from the work program, but I will also provide my perspective and tips to tackle those calls. To conclude, I'll shortly present you to us, Argentum Consultant, and our methodology of work to target non-dilutive funding. So let's begin. The EIC has formulated 6 strategic goals for the 2024 work program. The understanding of those 6 strategic goals gives us insights about what they are expecting to see in the projects to be selected for funding. The first goal would be to position the EIC as the main investor of choice for visionary ideas. This means that the EIC is allocating a generous budget in order to be able to adopt and represent all the best ideas rising over the continent. The second goal aims to position the EIC as the source able to bridge the financing gaps for all relevant and selected deep tech companies or entities. In the next slide, we'll deepen our understanding of what it means, deep tech, according to the EIC. The third goal is quite intrinsic to the second one, but pointing at the EIC as a source that should be able to take, adopt, and support the level of risk in which deep tech companies are. When we talk about risk, we talk about financial risk, but also scientific and technological risk. The fourth goal is quite important for us to acknowledge, as it directly impacts the design of the submitted proposals. The EIC aims to increase the number of European unicorns and scale-ups over the continent, and this in order to match and ultimately to surpass the USA and Asian performance in the field. This means that each proposal you'll be submitting should reflect a way of meeting this ambition. The fifth strategic goal focuses on deep understanding of the need for partnership inside and across Europe. This is also an objective that should be taken into consideration while presenting a commercialization strategy in your proposal. It occurs that over the last years, the EIC has strengthened its direct partnership with the EIT, the European Institute of Technology, in terms of innovation funding also. And this goes directly in the fifth strategic goal direction. The last one is quite blurry, but also conclusive. It's to reach operational excellence. Let's go to the next slide. In the next slide, I would like to complete our understanding of the EIC strategic goals and perspective by adding 2 items. The first one is the better understanding of what is deep tech. So according to their definition, it's a technology that is based on cutting-edge scientific advances and discoveries and is characterized by the need to stay at the technological forefront by constant interaction with new ideas and results from the lab. Deep tech is distinct from high tech, which tends to refer only to R&D and intensity. From my understanding, deep tech refers more to the level of R&D risk or complexity than to the level of R&D intensity. The second item I wanted to bring up are three recurring parameters that I see that are appearing all over the EIC work program. Sometimes those parameters are appearing as eligibility or preferential criteria, and sometimes as guiding principles. The first parameter calls for a better inclusion of European widening countries, which basically are Eastern countries and peripheral countries to the EU, like Bulgaria, Croatia, Slovakia, Romania, Portugal, and more. The second parameter is to target a more gender-balanced representation of women in the world of innovation. Therefore, one of the EIC prizes would be targeting women-led innovation, and also there are some preferential parameters in the evaluation process. The third is the importance of European economic security, which comes mainly in the technologies like sensitive technologies like AI, advanced semiconductors, and quantum. For those specific sensitive technologies advancement, there are some safety measures and regulatory process that you need to take into account. Okay, let's go now to the three flagship calls of the EIC. First, we have a slide visualizing the three calls all together, because those three flagship calls are actually an integrated and agile support across the full innovation spectrum, from early stage to startup and scale up. The division between the calls is based on the TRL, Technology Readiness Level scale, which means that with a chronological perspective, we begin with the EIC Pathfinder that supports advanced research and develops the scientific basis to underpin breakthrough technologies. On the TRL scale, we are going from the level of an idea, TRL 1, and up to a proof of concept, TRL 4. Then the EIC transition is to validate technologies and develop business plan for a specific application, going on the TRL scale from the lab validation, it's 3-4, and up to a working prototype, accompanied with a business perspective supporting the development, TRL 5-6. Finally, the EIC Accelerator supports companies to bring their innovation to market and scale them up, taking from TRL 5-6 to 8-9. We see here a clear storyline accompanying innovation from its early research and scientific steps through its technological formulation and development and up to its commercial and business implementation. As appearing on the slide, the EIC Pathfinder and Accelerator have two tracks, an open one that is open for every field of activity, we'll call it bottom up, and a second one dedicated to specific challenges, which are predefined thematics and challenges. The EIC transition has a bottom up track only. We'll begin with the end of the story, the EIC Accelerator. As previously mentioned, the EIC Accelerator has two tracks, the open track, bottom up, and the challenge-driven track. Both tracks have the same deadlines over the year. And I would like first to begin with reviewing the specific challenges. Then on the next slide, we will map all the details you need to know for the submission. The first challenge is dedicated to human-centric generative AI, as, for example, the creation of new generative AI models, minimizing fictional elements, or in terms of transparency and traceability. Generative AI models allowing to trace the origin of the information. So it's basically calling not for new algorithm, but for new concept, providing a more transparent AI. The second challenge is focusing on virtual and augmented reality and its support to the Industry 5.0. These innovative tools can be implemented and needed in several areas like wearable devices, smart textile, AR, VR solution, digital twins, transport technologies, and more. The third challenge aims to promote the development of novel semiconductor components and an integrated smart system for next generation edge device, but also to foster in the era of quantum information processing components. This challenge is expected to support the EU in taking a leading role in the development of cutting-edge quantum computing, simulation, and quantum sensing and communication. As formulated before, this is one challenge that directly meets one of the EIC strategic goals and needs to meet some safety measures. The fourth challenge focuses on supporting production of food from precision fermentation and algae that decouples food production from the soil and environmental conditions. The fifth challenge calls for the development of variant-proof antiviral therapeutics and that can maintain treatment efficacy even as virus evolves. The last challenge aims at scaling up different renewable energy sources and their supply chain to limit EU's significant dependency on imports of components, including critical raw material, to ultimately increase the EU's energy strategic autonomy in the energy sector. It was a long sentence to say that the renewable energy sector has some limitation. The source is a green source, but the production and manufacturing process, the whole supply chain is quite polluting, and we want to find alternative to that. Now, regarding the technical details of the EIC accelerator, I've summarized it all in one slide in which we can understand the rationale and the format. In terms of eligibility criteria, in order to apply to the EIC accelerator, you have to be an independent and SME or startup. SME up to 250 employees and up to 50 million turnover. You have to be established in an EU member state or associated country to Horizon Europe. In some exceptional cases, also mid-cap company can apply, which is up to 499 employees. The submission process goes in 3 stages. One short proposal that includes a short application, a pitch deck, and a 3-minute video. Then you get evaluated by a jury and receive evaluation result that should be a go, no go decision. You have to receive 3 goes out of 4 goes to get invited to submit a full proposal. As the short proposal can be submitted all over the year on a rolling base, the full proposal can be submitted on 2 specific deadlines during the year, and I've written it here. We have a deadline in March and in October. Then, if selected at the 2nd stage, you get invited for an interview, and this would be the last defining stage. You have to pay attention that resubmissions are limited to 3, meaning you can have up to 3 rejected applications. Doesn't matter if it's a 1st stage or a 2nd stage, meaning that after 2 unsuccessful 1st stage, you would be allowed to apply only to 1 2nd stage application, and the contrary. So as I said, the 2 available deadlines are in March the 13th and October the 3rd. A little tip, when you apply for the EIC accelerator, you have to acknowledge that it's a long process. And a lot of time, clients or applicants are eager to apply to a specific deadline. But I remind you that the deadline is actually the application of the 2nd stage. to those impatient applicants, I say that the best way to target the second stage is to submit the first stage. So if you want to target the EIC accelerator, let's begin to write the first stage. Regarding the budget, the EIC accelerator offers two funding mechanisms, a grant and an equity-based investment. The grant would be up to 70% funding rate, and the budget can be up to 2.5 million euro. The investment component goes up to 15 million euros. You have the possibility to apply for grant only, equity only, or both. That is called blended finance. For both tracks, so the open one and the challenge one, the project should start at TRL 5.6, meaning after technology has been validated in relevant environment, and should provide a strong commercialization strategy ensuring market adoption, meaning reaching TRL 8.9. As formulated in the strategic goals of the EIC accelerator is willing to support significant scale-ups over Europe and potentially and hopefully the next rising unicorns. Let's go to the EIC transition that provides an open track only, a bottom-up track, and no challenge. So in this slide, you can find all the technical conditions, requirements, and opportunities offered within this track. In terms of eligibility, first and foremost, an EIC transition project has to be based on a successful EIC Pathfinder or ERC or Horizon Europe project, and should be presented as a direct continuation of it, even though it is not mandatory that the applicant of the previously successful project is the same as the new coming project. Then the EIC transition project can be submitted by a small consortium of from 2 to 5 partners or independently. And in terms of type of applicant, it's open to non-for-profit or profit entities. Are eligible any entity that is registered in an EU member state or associated country. The submission process is quite straightforward with a full proposal of 22 pages. And if you're selected, you get invited for an interview with an EIC jury. Only one available deadline for the EIC transition in 2024, and it will be on the 18th of September. Regarding the budget, as the total budget allocated for this track is 94 million, the expected budget per submitted project would be up to 2.5 million, and the funding rate is 100%. And again, the project scope is open for every field of activity and should validate and demonstrate a technology in applicant relevant environment, starting at TRL 3.4 and aiming at achieving TRL 5.6. In parallel, you need to develop also a business model for market entry. Considering that, it is strongly recommended to technology transfer offices to participate in such a call. Lastly, the EIC Pathfinder. So again, we have the bottom-up track and the challenge-driven track. So we'll begin with shortly overviewing the topic-oriented challenge, and then we'll go over the technical details. So for the list of challenge, I would like to say that they are named in a very complex way, and therefore, if you believe you fit one of the challenges, you should carefully read the 2-3 pages with a detailed explanation of what the challenge is really about. I'll try here to display in the more clear way the 6 challenges. The first challenge, the objective of the first challenge, named Solar to X device, is to make progress towards synthetic fuels and chemical technologies which integrate all necessary conversion steps into a single device and which are solely and directly driven by solar energy. Second challenge is focusing on decarbonizing cement by providing scientific, economic, and regulatory levers to reduce the environmental impact of cement and concrete sector for construction. The third challenge aims to support ambitious interdisciplinary research that would lead to the development and production of sustainable nature-inspired alternatives for food packaging and agricultural production. The fourth challenge is called nanoelectronics for energy-efficient smart edge device. The expected impact from this challenge is to open an unprecedented way for the reduction of power consumption in information processing, transmission, etc., by developing new fundamental technology solutions going from advanced material to advanced device and circuits that will allow a drastic reduction of energy consumption of smart edge solution. The specific goals of the fifth challenge are: 1, the development of technologies for space debris mitigation and active debris removal; 2, concepts for in-space recycling and dysfunctional orbital asset; 3, innovation for protecting EU space infrastructure. So everything that would clean the space infrastructure. Those were the challenge, and here in this slide you can find the technical condition requirements offered by this track. In terms of eligibility criteria, in order to apply for a Pathfinder, you have to build a small consortium of 3 to 5 partners, including at least one member state established entity. The other partner can be established in member state or associated country. For the challenge-driven path, the project can be applied also independently, so not only by consortium. The type of applicants is very wide and can be any entity, for-profit, non-for-profit entities can apply. The submission process is quite straightforward, with a one-stage full proposal of 20 pages for the open call and 30 pages for the challenge-driven call. Why? Because in the challenge-driven call, you have also to justify how you fit the challenge. The deadline for the open track is on the 7th of March, and the challenge-driven track deadline is on the 16th of October. Regarding the budget, as the total budget allocated for this track is 136 million for the open track and 120 million for the challenge-driven track, the expected budget per submitted project would be up to 3 million for the open track and up to 4 million for the challenge-driven track. We are talking about a 100% funding rate. For both track, open track and challenge-driven track, the submitted project should present a radically new technology. It is important. I've seen a lot of evaluation results, and a lot of evaluators always come back to this formulation. You have to show how the technology submitted under the Pathfinder is radically new. The project should begin at TRL 1 and end at TRL 4, and the expected outputs of such a project would be new generated IP, top scientific publications, and scientific technology POC. We reach now the 4 prizes that are offered by the EIC. In line with the EIC strategic goals, the EIC offers recognition prizes, recognizing inspiring and constructive activities and achievement. Please pay attention to the difference. The 3 calls for proposal that we just reviewed are to fund planned activities, planned project, and therefore the proposal includes a full work plan and budget calculation. The prizes are a predefined lump sum for achieved activities, and therefore in the proposal you will be required to display your achievement according to the scope. The first prize, aligned with the targeted gender balance, is to be allocated to inspiring women-led innovation. Under this prize, there are 2 tracks: Women Innovator and Rising Innovator. The Rising Innovator is for women aged under 35. The prize under the Women Innovator track would be of 100K, 70K, 50K for the 3 highest rank application. For the Rising Innovators Prize would be 50K, 30K, 20K. In order to apply, you have to be legally established in an EU member state or associated country and had as a founder or co-founder of a legally established company. The deadline for submission is not released yet, but is expected for Q3-4 in 24. The second prize is called iCapital and is targeting cities that stand out with inspiring activities that contributed to the citizens' quality of life. There also, you have 2 tracks for larger cities and smaller cities. Again, the applying cities have to be located in one of the EU member states or associated country. The allocated amount for the prize winners would be 100K for the largest city and 50K for the small one. Deadline for submission also expected for Q3-4. The third prize recognizes the importance of innovation procurement. The awards would recognize public and or private procurer, individual, natural person, legal entity, any type that are using innovation procurement to support the transition to a sustainable net zero economy and are driving innovation across key sectors such as energy, transportation, construction, and manufacturing. The eligible applicants would be legally established entities located in EU member state or associated country, again, of any type. Like the 2 previous prizes, this one deadlines is also expected for Q3 for 24. The last prize is for European social innovation, is for innovative products that came to shape our novel society in different field of activities. The prize amount is 50K euro, and the expected deadline is Q2-3-24. With pleasure, I'll provide more information about each one if relevant after the webinar. Here I've put some of the changes that I identified in the new work program compared to the last one. So first, for the EIC accelerator, there was a grant first option, and this is not available anymore. Now you have only grant only, equity only, or blended finance. And also to pay attention to the fact that in order to pass to the second stage, you need 3 goes and not 2 goes, which was before. So the importance of the first stage gets more and more increased. The first stage is quite critical now. In the EIC transition, the news are that there is only a bottom-up track and no challenges. And the eligibility criteria have been a bit extended. Also, the budget has been extended. Therefore, I expect that this year we will have more submissions under this track that was less reachable in the last years. Regarding the EIC Pathfinder, in the previous year, we had a pilot of right to react when you were rejected, and this has been erased. You don't have the option to react to a rejection. And also they have slightly changed the policy of open access and IP rights. In general, the new financing mechanism also had some changes. The EIC Accelerated Transition and Pathfinder project budget should be allocated as a lump sum and are to be negotiated at the evaluation stage. This mainly in order to facilitate the reporting process during the project implementation. On the other hand, the overall, so this is to facilitate the funding mechanism and not to base on the deliverables of the project during its implementation. On the other hand, the overall budget has been reduced compared to last week. and the number of cutoffs also reduced. And I think that's also, I wanted just to shortly present you who we are and what we do. So at Argentum, we're specialized in EU research and innovation funding. The company was established in 1999, and since then, we have a vast experience in obtaining governmental funding at national, intergovernmental, and European level. Today, while focusing on EU non-dilutive funding, we count more than 30 employees. We are divided in different departments, different clusters. We can tell a lot about that. But mainly what I wanted to share with you is our methodology. As you've seen, we are investigating each funding source, but mainly what we're working on is to approach non-dilutive funding as a strategic decision for a company, meaning that we take in a holistic way all the funding need of a company, and we target it within, we call it a multi-submission strategy, which includes not only targeting one call for proposal, but several one during the year, building a rational funding strategy and rational submission plan over the year. We'll be glad to tell more about it within a call, because this is not the subject of this webinar. This is a bit about our team, and I hope you enjoyed the heavy information provided here in this webinar, and I hope to meet you in another occasion. Thank you for hearing me today, and I wish you a nice day.